Welcome to How To with Cast and Crew, a production by local residents who are newly trained as volunteer student crew members. In this program, I'll be giving you, the audience, a demonstration of how to create a wonderful meal, while the production crew learns how to create a TV studio show. Since this is the production crew's first show at making a television show, bear with us, as you may see some learning mistakes while they get some practice and experience in this hands-on training exercise. Hi, I'm Judy Keyes, and tonight I'm your host. We'll be spending the next half hour creating a wonderful meal for you and your family. The first thing we're going to start is we're going to be making some chicken cacciatore. And the first thing I'm going to be doing here is let's get the oil going. I'm using some extra virgin olive oil. We're going to use a generous amount, and to that we're going to be adding our vegetables. Now, we live in this area, and this area is a very plentiful area of wonderful fruits and vegetables. As you can see by what I have here, I've prepared and cut all of these vegetables the day before. Not only for time's sake for this show, but also for the fact that I wanted to show you that you too can do this sort of thing at home. If you have some extra time, say on a Saturday or a Sunday, cut up some vegetables for your weekend meal. You know, then it's just going to make life so much easier for you. You won't have to be rushing home from work, you know, and worried about what you're going to be cooking. Can you hear it? It's already starting to sizzle. In Italy, they use a lot of red onions. I know people around here, we use a lot more, I'd say, yellow onions. But in Italy, they actually use quite a few red onions. And in most cases, they don't have access to as many yellow onions and different types as we have here. So I'm using some red onions. I've cut them up in sort of not really big pieces, but they're not chopped up real fine. And I'm not going to be the chopping police, and I'm not going to be coming to your house to see how you're chopping your onions. Now I am going to throw in some yellow onions because I like the flavor of them. I know you can't smell this, but it's going to start smelling pretty good around here pretty soon. The next thing, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, but this is actually a garlic slicer. So we're going to put some of these. I've already cleaned this garlic, and I'm just going to start it right in here. It's just a little bit of a different way of using the garlic. I think the flavor is much greater. It seems to, I don't know, sometimes when it's crushed it sort of gets lost. This way you're going to actually see the slices. We're making chicken cacciatore. And I know that most of you have seen recipes for chicken cacciatore, but I think that sometimes they're a little lacking in flavor. So what I want you to do, I'm going to be putting out the recipe for you for a general feeling, but I want you to actually try it and see what you like in it. I like garlic, and we live in this area, and this is the best area to live in because everybody wants to live here. I think I've put in about, maybe 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. These were rather large. We had a good crop this year, excuse me. So let's get this in here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding all of our herbs and vegetables first and getting those going because we really only have about a half an hour. But I've pre-cooked the chicken, and all I've cooked it in is just plain olive oil with a little bit of salt. Okay, the next thing is I have some green peppers that I've chopped. Some people don't like green peppers. I'm not overly fond of them, but I think in this dish they definitely bring in a specific flavor. So that's about, in this case, it's probably about a half of a very large green onion. Green pepper. Let's not. And now we're going to put in the red bells. I know that you're all familiar with red bells, and they're a little bit sweeter. So we're just going to put these in here, and this is actually one very large Now you notice how easy this was? I mean, it's already done for you. I'm gonna remind everybody that going out and ordering a pizza for $20 and still being hungry after is probably not the best way to go for dinner lately. With the economy the way it is, this would be a better deal. I figure I'm probably going to cook for maybe 10 to 15 people today out of this one meal, and it probably ended up costing me maybe $15 or $20. Now I'm adding baby carrots. Now you don't have to use these baby carrots. You can use just regular carrots that you've peeled and sliced. What carrots do in this dish is add the sweetness. And I know that a lot of people, when they're making dishes with tomatoes, are adding sugar. We're not going to be adding sugar. In fact, we're going to be using some Italian tomatoes from Italy. They're San Marzano tomatoes. And yes, we do grow wonderful tomatoes here. And if you're using fresh tomatoes, it's going to be good. If you're going to be using canned tomatoes, sometimes you get that real acidy flavor. With the San Marzano tomatoes, you don't get that flavor. Okay, we've put in everything. The next thing we're going to put in is, now, I don't know if you can see these, but these are pepperoncinis and they're very hot. But we're going to squish them up. We have to add some flavor to this. Everything's cooking. Now this is going to really bring in some heat. But I like that. I like that in my dishes. I like with the tomatoes and the chicken, I think you need a little bit of spice. Well, going back to not getting that pizza for dinner, because really by the time you get through cooking getting a pizza for a family of 4, you're still hungry. It's not really enough. So you got to start making a salad or adding other things. Well, if you do something like this. Now this is some fresh rosemary. I'm just going to put this in because rosemary and chicken go real well together. And I'm going to be adding some oregano. When you put your seasoning in, if you add it in while you're sauteing your vegetables, it's going to burst the flavors. Now, let's add in some bay leaves. And this is getting real. Can you guys smell this? Now remember, this is Cast and Crew. Do we have any noses out there that are picking these smells up? I bet you we do. I'm going to turn this up a little bit and get this going. I love living in Gilroy. I love living in this area. The fruits and the vegetables are just wonderful. I know that times now are difficult because people are having financial difficulties and they want to have parties and you want to have your friends over. And I think that making dishes like this and creating dinners at home and having dinner parties at home are really the way to go. By the time you end up going to some places, like I said, pizza, going out to dinner, you've only had maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours worth of entertainment, where doing something like this and cooking with your friends and your family, you really get a chance to really have a real family moment. I think it's wonderful for kids. I think parents who are showing their kids how to cook at a young age, you're really doing them a favor, because as they go through life, college students, even with a hot plate, you can get away with it. Look, this is just a frying pan, and you'll be surprised at what we can make. Now I'm going to add some mushrooms. Another thing is, since we live in this area, shopping for fruits and vegetables are right around the corner. LJB Farms, for instance, who was gracious enough to help us out today, they have wonderful produce. They'll get you anything you need. They're open till the day before Christmas. They have all kinds of fresh vegetables, and a lot of the things are grown right here in our own valley. I go to the mushroom farms and I buy my mushrooms there. They're fresh, and I pay such a low amount. I mean, really inexpensive compared to what is available in some of the stores. I want to tell you a little bit about how much do you think this whole meal here is going to cost, because I think people think that because you're cooking it at home, it's going to be more expensive than going out because of just getting everything together. Well, I've used some onions, I've used some peppers, and all those are available at LJB Farms or at wherever your local farmer's market or anything. Very inexpensive, very reasonable. We're going to add some salt. Now this is some sea salt. I don't know if that's something that you'd like to try. It tends to be a little bit saltier than regular salt. But it's good and it's fun. It kind of adds a little bit of a, gourmet touch, though it's not necessary, your regular table salt. And this is just pepper. So we haven't used any really exotic seasonings in here. Most people can grow, most of these herbs right in their own gardens. Or actually, what's fun is if you get together with, say, another family and they grow certain things and you grow, maybe they're going to grow basil and, tomatoes, or basil and whatever herbs that you like, oregano. There's all kinds of things that grow very well in this area. But, okay, let's get back to what I was talking about. Going out to dinner as opposed to cooking at home. You can cook at home very inexpensively. What I suggest you do is, most of our ads in this area come out around Wednesday. What you need to do is sit down, look at your ads, and think about what you think you want to cook for dinner for maybe the next week. And mark in the paper. Use your paper. Think about what's at the farmers markets. Think about, where you can go to get the products that you need to create meals that are healthy and inexpensive. And I think that if you will take that Sunday morning or that Wednesday afternoon or whenever time you can get in and go through the paper and take that extra time to look at things and think, well, let's see, roast is on sale and chicken's on sale or whatever. You can create your own meals at home and do them actually rather inexpensively. Now this right here, now we've got all these vegetables in here, and I bet you if you were to actually figure out how much these vegetables were, I don't think there's more than about, let's say, maybe $2. There's about a pound of mushrooms, that's about $1, and some onions and a couple bell peppers and some fresh garlic. Now I know that with the markets around here, the availability is year-round. And I know that you'd be able to get all these things at a very reasonable price. Now, these are the tomatoes. These are San Marzano tomatoes. They're a little bit more expensive, and you probably, you don't have to go this way, but it really is good. They're really good. And I know that when the crew tastes this later, they're going to notice the difference. They are a little bit sweeter, and actually they're probably more like a homegrown tomato. I use a lot of homegrown tomatoes. I have a lot of friends that have wonderful tomato plants. Okay, now we're cooking here. And I use their tomatoes. I often ask for donations to my tomato pile, and then I'll get them all together. And my mom came up with this. What she did was she had a lot of extra tomatoes on her plant this year. And what she did was she actually just took and washed the tomatoes and then froze them whole without cooking them. Just put them in a plastic bag and stuck them in the freezer. And she says that when she needs to use them, then she's just going to take them out and let them thaw a little bit. And actually, the skins should just come right off. I think it's a great idea. Okay, here we go. We're cooking. Now, we're going to add a little white wine. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's just good flavor. The alcohol's going to cook off. Oh, this is look. I don't know. Have we shot this? Can you guys see what this is looking like? Is this looking okay? I think it's going to be good. If you like to add different herbs to your chicken cacciatore, you can add thyme. You can add marjoram. You can add any. There's just whatever you like. Really. I think that sometimes, like I was saying a long time before when we first started, is sometimes recipes, they give you a teaspoon of this and a teaspoon of that. I think you need to try things and sort of adjust things to the flavor that your family enjoys. Dried herbs are going to be a little bit more pungent. Like I said, add them at the beginning, add all your herbs at the beginning, and let the olive oil sort of burst them out. So I think that once you start using different kinds of herbs, dried ones or fresh ones, the one fresh one that's probably not going to give you the flavor that you're looking for is oregano, because for some it's just not as pungent. The dried oregano is actually a much more pungent flavor. So I hope, can you guys see this? This is looking good. Do we have any comments? Any comments from the crew? No? Okay. Well, I guess they're going to be wanting to eat, though, I bet. Now I'm going to add the chicken in. Since we only have a half an hour, I want to tell you that this only takes a half an hour to make. It probably would in the case that you're doing it at home, but here it's taking us a little bit longer. So I don't want to tell you it only takes a half an hour to make. You know, it doesn't take a long time, but it's a little bit more than a half an hour by the time you get everything done. What I've done here is I've actually just taken some olive oil and just sauteed the chicken before time, because you always want to make sure that your chicken is well done. Now this is just chicken thighs. If you don't like the flavor of dark meat, if you only like white meat, then just use the chicken breast. I like the chicken thighs. I think that it gives it more flavor. It's not as dry, but okay. We've got it all in. Now I've put everything in, absolutely everything in. I didn't drain the chicken. It's got all its flavors. It's got the gelatin. Now it's cooking. Oh, this is looking good. This is looking really good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the top on this, let this cook for as much time as we can let it cook for. Then I'm going to add the pasta, which I've already pre-cooked, which is another great idea. If you're cooking a pound, cook 2 pounds. Take 1 pound out, put it in a drain it, cool it off, put it in a plastic bag, and keep it for another time during the week. It'll stay in the refrigerator. You just have to keep it cold. It's sort of, you know, if the kids come home and you got to make something really fast, the pasta's already cooked. So you can actually tell them, well, just take a good, handful or so or put some in a bowl and just put some jarred sauce over it. It's, you have to kind of do what you need to do in order to get your family fed in sort of a timely manner. Okay, let me put a top on this, and then we're going to start our salad. Okay. Now that's just going to cook. Okay. Put this over here. This is done with. This is done with. Okay. Now, We're going to make a fast salad. I've already made the salad dressing. If you make salad dressing, say, once a week, you don't need to use the bottled stuff. You can make your own. Olive oil, some good vinegar, salt, pepper, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of sugar, and you got it made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask one of the crew members if he'll bring me over the plate that we're going to make the salad on. This is going to be a fast one. Oh, thanks. Thank you. All right. Got a salad plate. Okay. Here we go. We're going to start. I'm going to put some baby greens on. Okay. We've got baby greens on. Now, this meal is going to feed 10 people. And I don't think, that was about 5 pounds of chicken thighs. And that's already out there. I like some iceberg lettuce. I've already washed it. It's ready. We're going to add this onto the top. I just like a little bit of crisp. And sometimes the baby greens aren't quite, they taste good. They taste good, but they're not crispy. And I like crispy. And I think if you grew up in this area, you're sort of used to that kind of crispy flavor in your salad. So here we go. We're just going to mix it up. Yes, you got to use your hands because it's real difficult to cook without using your fingers and your... Okay, now these are a couple of tomatoes that my friend grew. All right. These are heirloom tomatoes. They're wonderful. The colors are beautiful. They taste just a little bit different than our regular red tomato. And since we have our tomatoes already, we're just going to put some of these. Doesn't that look great? Look at that color. Now this is reasonable. This is a reasonable meal to serve for a lot of people. I mean, this is fun. Can you imagine your kids, them looking at all this and having a wonderful time cooking with their moms and dads? Okay. Let's get some red onion. Just going to slice a few slices here. I've got some beans marinating and some salad in the salad dressing, so it's already done. So we're just going to reach underneath here. This is garbanzo beans, kidney beans, and olives. And they've been marinating just since this morning. I made some salad dressing. We're just going to put that right over the top that I liked. We're losing some. How's that? How's that looking? I think this is going to look pretty good. Let's turn this down a notch over here. All right, got this. This is done with. Then we're just going to take our... All right, now how's that look? I think that's going to be good. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back. We're going to plate everything up. We're going to add the pasta to the sauce. And then we're going to eat. All right.
Hello, I'm Betsy Avalar, and I'm currently working on The Rambler Show with my Rambler co-host. It will be airing here on CMAP. Our show is about current events at Gavilan, and will keep you informed on stories that impact our lives. As a local resident of Hollister, I can use CMAP to air my show, and so can you. Contact CMAP at 1-408-846-4983, or check them out on the web at www.mycmap.org. Or don't forget to watch The Rambler Show on Channel 20. Thank you and good day.
Hi, we're back. Now we're going to be getting into eating in a few moments. I just want to give you some ideas about what we're doing here. This is some rosemary bread, potato rosemary bread. I've made some whipped butter with some roasted garlic that I've actually roasted in some olive oil. I'll get you that recipe on our website. Here's our salad. Our pasta's been plated. The only thing I've added is some Parmesan cheese to it. And these are just brownies. It's just your mixed brownie that you buy in the store. It's got some, the icing is actually just the icing that you buy. The only thing I've added to it are some roasted hazelnuts. You'll notice that all the decoration these are all edible things. This is to me what I think is the best. Flowers are beautiful, but you can't eat them. So if you're kind of on a tight budget, what you bought for tomorrow's dinner can actually be today's design. So I think that this is going to be enough food for everybody, and I hope they'll all enjoy it. Thank you for joining us today. This has been a great hands-on learning experience for our newly trained production crew, and I hope it was for you too. If you would like to find out more about CMAP's television production, workshops, or producing your own show for cablecast, please visit the website at www.mycmap.org or call 408-846-4983. You will find the recipe for today's dishes at www.openaccess.network.org and follow the link to Keys to Cooking. I'd like to thank my sponsor and my friends, LJB Farms in San Martin, for helping us finance this by producing all these wonderful vegetables so that we can all enjoy it. I hope that we'll see you next time. Thank you. Okay, guys, let's eat. Okay, who's going to be first? All right.